All right, we are live, and sorry for last night. We had issues with the stream for various reasons. We lost power. We had a slow pull up, and then just got busy. I wasn't able to get back on. So, never fear. The music show will continue tonight, and we will get that in. And looking forward to it. We're all ready to go, ready to talk Def Leppard Part 2. And we're going to get that tonight. Sorry for that. For those that were tuning in for that, we had several, and we will get her in tonight. And we'll get history in too. We'll get Wolf Nation in. We'll get it all in. We're looking forward to a good night, afternoon, evening of streaming. Welcome to your Thursday, December the 11th. Wow. Getting close. Couple of weeks till Christmas. Things are progressing very nicely. The season is in full swing, and we hope that you are ready and able to see family. I've seen a lot of people posting at this time of year. They're not in a great relationship with their family, and I don't know all the reasons. All I can see is what they put. I don't know the ins and outs and the who said and she said and they said, and there's a lot of dynamics that can come with that. But I will say off the top that if you are a believer in Jesus Christ and born again, you're not alone. I see these people say, I'm alone. I don't have anybody. He said he would never leave you nor forsake you, and he won't. And so, just know that there's a good church family. If you find a good church home, and yes, there are many of them, many of them. I know a lot of them, and they will be there for you and help you. Good morning, Watchman. A good church family will be there closer than your family a lot of times, even though you love your family. But for those that are struggling, they don't have nobody, make sure that, you get locked in with Jesus Christ, and you won't be alone. This won't be a sad time of year. Give it to him. So, I understand those feelings. I understand the family, I get the dynamic, but I see a lot of people in great, depression saying there's just nobody. But sometimes people insulate themselves too away from others. And then when they really need somebody, they've pushed everybody away. There's lots of reasons that happens. So anyway, I'm just saying it's a holiday. Make it a joyful time of year, even with all that you've got going on. Everybody's got something. You may not have the perpetual smile on your face that people think you're supposed to have. Nobody has that. Well, there may be somebody, but you can have joy and joy everlasting. As the Bible says, joy unspeakable. You can have that through Jesus. So don't be alone like that. There's always ways to overcome those feelings. And so anyway, I hear that a lot this time of year. I've never, yes, he does, Watchman. He does stick closer than a brother. And, I never experienced that. I mean, I get you have people that you miss. I get all that. And I've seen some people post that they just lost their wife. I get that. But at the same time, you can have joy even with all that. The look in a child's face as they open a gift or go visit someone in a nursing home, or, do a community service act, give and help somebody, if you have the ability. If you don't, I understand, but to pray and to continue to pray. So anyway, we will move on, but I just want to say that, everybody got something going on. I mean, as you get older, especially, there's a lot, you lose people. My wife's going through some health time, but she's got that fire. She's got that spirit. She's trying hard every day. And, that's inspiring to me. And so when I was having all the problems last night, I just said, well, I'm going to spend it with my wife even more time. We just sit and watch. I did something very, some people would find very boring whenever with a crash in the studio. I just said, I watched Andy Griffith with her. We watched Barney. And good morning. John 640 over on Instagram. I watched Andy Griffith last night, and I didn't get to broadcast. I was aggravated about that, and you just roll with the punches, like it'll be better tomorrow, and it was, and it is, and laugh at Barney. So my wife got a few laughs, I got a few laughs, and then I fell asleep. And my son came in. He had been out working, and he came in and helped her get in the bed. I don't even think I realized half what was going on until he already came in and helped her. So I got an extra sleep. I'm ready to roll, and let's have a great day. Hey, National Day today. I like to do these. These are kind of fun. Let me find my thing on it if I didn't cover it up. Today is International Mountain Day. Have you heard the story about the guy that left his girlfriend on the mountain? Like, she was not a professional climber. She had done some climbing, but nothing to the extent of what they did. He left her in sub-zero weather. And he didn't call for help for a long time. Things got a real fishy sound to it. Like, what are you doing here, dude? They're charging him. He could get 3 years out of it. Probably deserves a whole lot more than that. What I think, and I could be dead wrong, what I think is that she couldn't make it anymore, so he decides to summit, which even though it's a few hundred yards, it might have took a while because it was brutal. Then he's there with her, but by the time he gets help there, she's dead. She's froze to death. And then he's posting on the socials how much he misses her and everything. It sounds really fishy, like he just left her up there. I don't know. That's an odd thing sometimes that happen. I've seen that before. There's this, there was the guy, the doctor. Remember the doctor that went up and from Texas, and he got, he lost some fingers. I think it's a miracle he lived. He was going for the big one on that, but he wrote a book about it. But he had eye surgery, and when he got up there, he couldn't see. Like it just messed with his eyes, and he got down, but he stumbled around like he was about to fall off the mountain. It wouldn't take much. But somebody found him and brought him into a tent, but all these people went by him. I get it, but where's human life, dignity, all those things. They just left him. They walked on by him. All these people wanting to summit, and they get him down to another base camp, very high up. The winds were bad. And remember the Indian military helicopter pilot. They tell him you're going to die, and he gets the helicopter up there, which is crazy in itself. That whole story, just the helicopter ride up would have been was life. His life was in danger. He got the guy down, and he wrote a book about it. There might have been a movie made about it, but I know he wrote a book about his experience when he was trying to summit. But people left him. They're like, I got to get on the summit. Sorry, you're having a bad day. That's kind of the way it was. Aleister Crowley left a whole group on K4 Mount Everest, but he was a piece of garbage anyway. True, but yeah, and that's what was that doctor's name? Beyond, and I'm trying to think of the name of that book. Anyway, it was a fascinating story, and there's been others like that. Where people, it's all about the summit, And I read a book, another one. It was about a former NASA astronaut, and he done some amazing stuff. And one of those, it took him 2 trips, I think, but he finally got to summit, at Mount Everest. But all the way through here, this guy sacrificed a marriage. It seemed like his whole book was all about him, and people in the comments just lit him up. The story on a base level is very fascinating, the things he did in his life, but it was always about everybody sacrificing for him. It doesn't look like he sacrificed for anybody else, and he was just very narcissistic and everything. And although I could ride with him on the journeys, those were fascinating. Space and whether you believe they really go or whatever, but he posted pictures of him and then his Everest, and then he had a friend that died, and he took they did a hike up. I think it was in the Rocky Mountains. They went up, and he had this idea for everybody to go up so they could plant the remains on top of a mountain, and there were dangers there. I got there, but the whole story at the end of it, you're like, this story was nothing but about you. You trashed everybody else. you just threw them under the bus. But anyway, International Mountain Day, December 11th. It is also Burkina Faso Republic Day. And the only reason I mention that is we have missionaries in Burkina Faso. Wonderful. There's a wonderful opportunity. They're winning souls for Christ. But this particular area, it's a big area. Burkina Faso has some interesting things going on. First of all, the Russians have been coming into this area. Russian flags have been going up. They've talked about it when they came back to our church. They're a wonderful young couple, and they're doing amazing things for Christ there in that area. It's a huge area, Burkina Faso. Also, Islamic attacks and parts of Burkina Faso have fallen to the Islamists, and there's a lot of people that are fleeing that war zone, just brutality, death, but they're coming right towards them, and they're able to get them the gospel. So God is working out some amazing things even with that. But this area, whenever you hear about, and I, before I'd never met them. They were with the church before I came there, and I was glad to get to meet them. And I also met her dad is a missionary, and he has been over there. But they were able to give me firsthand accounts of what it looked like in their town. And I can't remember who had the area originally. I don't remember who was the French or whoever had, but the Russians have came in, and they're starting to change things over, and the Islamists are attacking a big part of it. This guy's working with about 5 different churches and schools and stuff to reach people over there. But pray for them. But it is Burkina Faso Republic Day. They got a lot of problems going on. It is also the Christmas jumper day. I don't see me doing that, but some adults do like to put the Christmas jumpers on. Of course, kids do, but I think this is kind of the adult version. Instead of ugly sweater, Christmas sweater day, it is the Christmas jumper day. I do have my granddaughter's mom. She would do this without a doubt. Would go to town like this. She don't care. I would not see me doing that. I mean, what you do at home is what you do at home. But you leave the house in the Christmas jumper and go to the Big Wally store, or down to the Costco or something. Do you wear the Christmas jumper as a family unit, the family truckster? I promise you, I don't have one. And if I did, I'm not telling you. There would be no pictures. My granddaughter and her mom, I think they did this one Halloween or something. And I carried them around. I was like, I can't believe this. I mean, they had this. It was not the ugly Christmas jumper, but it was the very ugly Halloween jumper. Oh my gosh. It is also the holiday food drive for Needy Animals Day. So think of your animal shelters, rescues, things such as that, and make a donation. There's a guy that's followed the show from Oregon. He noticed the cat that we had there in the Rome area, Rome, Georgia, not Italy, who needs adopted. And he was talking about how pretty the cat. Well, it was a pretty cat. And he said if he was in the area, he would love to have it. But he's got 2 German Shepherds. But thanks for reaching out and noticing that. And we appreciate the watch. It's also National App Day. That would be a fun thing to look and see on a show one night. How many apps do you have on your phone? You probably have too many. You probably have apps you never use. We need National App Cleanup Day. Now, there's apps I've downloaded I thought might use, decided I didn't, and I have it. When I need space, I do. I look for those. Like, what app goes on the block today? My phone has a lot of space, so I don't do it much. But how many apps do you have? Page after page after page of apps on your phone. It's a wonderful thing to have all these apps to do all this stuff. The problem is you can't keep them on your phone anyway. I mean, there's tens of thousands, millions of apps. I don't know how many. Everybody gets one. Hey, one day for the podcast, we may have an app, Who knows? But it is National App Day. It is also, and I guess this is for a particular, because you have to clarify these things, because this is National John Day, but not that John. Just John. So if you are John, Jon, short for Jonathan, it is your day. I didn't know that we broke that down into days. So anyway, if that is you today, then have at it. Oh, is there a Dave Day? National Dave Day? I don't know. Hello, everyone. Hello, Bess. Good to see you again. Hope you have been well. Sorry for the mix up on. We actually ended up with two Discord channels somehow. I don't know because I'm an idiot, and I probably doubled up somehow. I don't know, but is there a National Dave Day? I don't know. I'd find that out one day. National Dave Day. This day in history. In 1816, Indiana joined the Union. Some might wish they had not. Nothing against you, Indiana folks. Is Indiana one of those states like Jersey that a lot of people like to pick on? Is that kind of how this goes? I guess every state probably gets picked on by certain people groups. I mean, I'm sure Georgia, we catch our flag. For Georgia, the best thing is, and I love you over in Alabama, but Alabama catches and South Carolina catches a lot more flack than Georgia ever does. So, if you say you're from Georgia, most people are like, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I've been to Georgia a bunch of times and seen different stuff. They'll talk, but they'll mock Alabama, and that would be National Cornbread Day. You're saying, okay, well, yeah. Hey, I'm gonna go to the Cornbread Festival. We have one here locally every year, and I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to try to set up at the next one. Just do a live stream from the Cornbread event. So I need to get on that. That'll happen in the new year, and that'd be a natural for me to set up at. Cornbread man at the Cornbread Festival. But yeah, I hear a lot of people pick it out of Indiana, not Alabama. Well, Alabama too, but Indiana. But they joined the Union in 1816, so they go back a pretty good ways. 1936, King Edward abdicated the throne. Remember that story. 1941, the Axis at war with the U.S., because that was 4 years of pure hell, and then some. In 1981, Muhammad Ali's farewell, his last fight against Trevor Burbick. Remember that? In Nassau, Bahamas. He lost, and it was the end of a career. Now, I get attacked a lot. I don't know if I say attacked. Maybe that's not the right word. I get that a lot of people that were in sports. I'm not a huge boxing fan anyway. I've watched it back in the day. I've never watched boxing anymore. I've watched a lot of Olympic boxing. I've watched the heavyweights and a few welterweights, and back in the day. But I never was really into it. But I know a lot of people really like Muhammad Ali. I never really cared for him. I just didn't. And there's different reasons I don't want to get into right now. But I just, I'm not a hater. I just didn't care. A lot of people in my generation were it was all about Ali. But one, I'm not a huge fan of boxing. And number two, there was just some things there about him that, I didn't care. Foreman was the bad guy that became the good guy. I kind of liked him because he was a mean guy, but he, speaking of George Foreman, but he became a good guy. And he made a heck of a lot of money with the George Foreman grill, which Hulk Hogan says was offered to him first, and he turned down because his wife at the time told him it wouldn't. It was a joke. It wouldn't do nothing. It'd be embarrassing to his image. Well, I don't know if he could do anything to embarrass Hulk Hogan's image, but he should have done the deal because George Foreman made a buku of money, and whoever was propping that up on him. So that's some of your national days today. There's tons of stuff happens. There's only 365, including for birthdays. And so we have a lot of birthdays every day. And if it's your birthday, happy birthday. But you share a birthday. If it is your birthday today, you share a birthday with country singer Brenda Lee. That's not a bad association. She is 80 years old. Wow. She's one of those. She goes back to the old school. There's not a lot of them left, But Brenda Lee. It is also Nikki Sixx's birthday. It's a miracle he's alive. Kickstart my heart. How many times has this guy probably been near death, OD'd? He's 66 years old today. They're stronger than ever. John 5 has joined the band. I know some controversy, but their guitars couldn't tour anymore. But there's been some mouthing going back and on. It seems like that always happens. We'll cover the Motley Crue story in a future show on the music show. But Nikki Sixx and the band, they're going out on a massive world tour, massive, and taking a couple of bands with them, and they're writing a new album. If you're into that sort of thing, they've got new music. Vince is doing better, singing better. John 5 is a bad boy on guitar. I mean, I never was, I didn't follow. I don't follow it like I used to, but I've seen some of his work. But that's the kind of guy that can play everything and not ever look at the guitar. he could be reading a novel and just shredding, as they say. He's a shredder. Have I heard of the new Guns N' Roses? No, I haven't. I have not. Nikki Sixx, 66. Jermaine Jackson, 70 years old today. And let's see, Shane Gillis, the comedian, is 37 today. So you share a birthday with him. I thought I might have one more, maybe not. Let's see. Some of them I don't mention. See if there's anybody else worth mentioning. Terry Garr. Well, she of course passed in last year. I always liked her as an actress. Terry Garr. It's her birthday as well. Happy birthday to all these folks, or the remembrance of their life, and happy birthday to you if it's your birthday. Most people don't like to have a birthday near Christmas because they say they get shorted on the birthday gift. They get a gift, but they don't. But it's all wrapped up in they short them either the Christmas to give the birthday or vice versa or whatever. So, they released 2 new leftover songs from Chinese Democracy with Slash and Duff playing on it. I did not know that. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Every once in a blue moon, we are very far apart in most things. But every once in a while on satellite radio, I will catch the Duff McKagan show with his daughter. And they play music and talk about stuff. Well, that's a description. Here is your evaluation of that. They suck. But what is it? What is it show called? It's two something and a I can't remember right now. I don't listen to it enough to remember that. But he does have stories, and that's one thing I'll give him. These guys have been around a long time. They have all these stories, and he's pretty good about playing new music too. And she helps pick out the music and stuff, and it's worth a listen. You just have to get by some of the diatribe sometimes that he goes on. That's what happens in the entertainment world is, conservatives get ripped and shredded a lot of times, But so if you can get past that, it's actually, I like the idea of the daddy-daughter dynamic and the music. I think that's pretty cool, so I can dig that. But I didn't know that was I appreciate your giving us a review. The review is in and they suck. Oh my goodness. I forgot one. And in 2008, he made off with billions. Bernie Madoff was arrested on this date in 2008. I think the question has always been, do you believe that the sons didn't know anything was going on, that the dad was the total mastermind and fed them junk information because, they say they didn't know anything, or were they in on it? So I don't know. I wasn't there. The president is planning a militarized zone on the California-Mexico border. I've actually called for this. I think it's one of the best things that we can do. We have to have protections for the border. And I've actually called for this, and that's just the Cali one, but that's a big one. And, we've got to step our game up. We've allowed our borders to be, just a sieve that people just walk through and run across and celebrate, shoot at our border patrol, cross the river and all that. So he's actually talking about that. So it'll be controversial. A lot of people get all upset. Guess what, folks? A lot of countries have a militarized zone on their border. This is not nothing new. And we need something that we can, patrol a little better, control a little better, making sure. So if we're going to keep the drugs and all the bad stuff out and bad people out, we've got to do something. So he also, at the same time, has bought a fleet of deportation jets. That'll also be, the news will be going tizzy over that. Oh my gosh, there goes the plane of evil as it deports. Hey, it takes a lot of, you got to have a lot of planes. We can't put them all through Delta. We've got to have some planes. And he says that should be compared with their older material to be fair. Well, it's fair enough. It's hard to listen. Not to talk too much music during the morning show. I don't mind talking a little bit, but if you go back to that New York show, the one, I can't think of that club, that very early in their career, that should be required viewing for anybody wanting to get a band together. The energy off that show and what they were kicking people's rear ends. That was them at their peak. And, they kind of just continued to slide after that. They did some good stuff, but they never to me, that was their pinnacle. That show, it should just be required viewing. If you want to have energy as a band and talk about guns at that New York show, that should be the one. That's them at their very, very best before drugs and money and jealousy and everything else. They just went down as a unit. I'm talking about. Individually, they may have done some good stuff, but I'm trying to think of the show. It's a live show, and they recorded that, and you can see it on YouTube or anything. That show is them. I mean, I don't remember if this is right before Appetite came out or right after. It's around that time. They are hungry. They are just out there. They're so very young, and they're just the energy in that show is, you can feel that off the tape, as they say. It's them at their very, very best. I mean, it's like I said, this is before they really got money. This was they're probably still eating, wherever they can find a meal, and living off they're borrowing money to try to make it. This is before they really, really, this is before they went out and got all the mansions and cars, and that's with a lot of bands. Before you become, the lawyers all get involved. This is when you're nobody. You're somebody, but you're nobody. You're trying to make it. You're writing every day, and you're all together. It's a brotherhood. And yeah, it's crazy. I'm sure it was crazy as I'll get out, but it was them at the top of their crazy. I'm trying to remember this CBBG or something like that show. Anyway, I'd have to look, but I had a friend that showed it to me. He's a huge Guns fan, and he said the same thing. He said this is where they were at their best. And I always liked, there was a time in my life, and I don't follow stuff anymore, that I was really on the ground, really, and I was trying to find bands before they became known. And I wanted to just experience, not to hang around or anything like that. I just wanted to meet them as real people. And I went to Atlanta a lot because I'm about 2 hours away. And the Atlanta music scene has been good for a long time. And around this time, which was the late 80s, right around, maybe it was late 80s, I was going down and getting involved in some groups and who were trying to make it, and was getting invited to practice, where they would have a practice session. Just a few friends and stuff would be coming out, and they would be at some big warehouse somewhere, and they'd just be practicing up. I got invited to stuff like that. I'd go see them at clubs that they were going to be playing at. And I wanted to just meet somebody and follow back before they got into the jerks that they become once they forget everybody. Usually, who are you? I don't know you. I mean, for the gatekeepers, I'll get there. They're just real people. You walk up to them at a club, you have a conversation. They hand you a tape and say, "Hey, listen to this and tell me what you think." This is a latest demo of a song we're working on, or a whole album, or whatever. I was able to do that, and you don't have all the junk. They've got some fans, they've got some friends. It's usually friends, and they've picked up a few, and it's there's this little fine line right there, and I just wanted to meet people before all the egos got involved, and the Hollywood lights, as they say. And I just, and just really, it was all about the music. I wasn't trying to, say, hey, I knew these guys before. I wasn't even trying. I wasn't that. I just wanted to meet them but on the way up. And once they made it, say, those are guys that, I knew and they were really cool before, now they don't know anybody. So that's what I like to do, because at that point they're appreciative of everything you do. You might be transporting one of them across town or something, give them a ride or something like that. And that's when it's cool. Later on, not so much. There are a few, as they say, friends that get the ride, but I wasn't interested. I was a family man. I wasn't interested in any of that. I just wanted to meet people who had a common interest in, music that I like, and, meet them and kind of get that band feel early on, because I don't play in a band or anything, and see the process of how they evolved as a band very early on. And then, I would probably never see them again, which I didn't. I mean, there were some bands that made it, some that didn't, but that's what I like to do. It was just something that I didn't tell anybody. I just did it. I would just go down and I really worked that scene a lot as much as I could. And there were a lot of bands, and most don't make it. I mean, they break up, they just don't make it, whatever happens. And at some point you just don't ever see them again. And that's what happens. But it's a magical time. I mean, it really is. It's just real people. Good morning, Jake. That's what I love about AC/DC. They arrive at their shows in pickup trucks. Angus said they laugh as they pass the fans arriving in stretch limos. Yes. And I would agree with that. Jake, how you doing, buddy? But yeah, very low key, not trying to be, not trying to be something other than just enjoying what they do, and not, and I get you got to have security. I will say this when, and I didn't meet him per se, and I've talked about this show. Yeah, White Snake is retiring. Well, at least Dave Coverdale. The rest of the band will not as White Snake, but they'll continue on, Reb Beach and the other guys. And I think the drummer, he's played forever and for everybody. He'll be playing when he's 100. What's that guy's name? I can't. He looked 100 when he was young, and he plays double bass. I can't think of his name right now. But when I met Ace Frehley, sort of kind of met him. He had that same look, like just a funny guy, down to earth, really engaged with his fans. Tommy Aldridge, yes, thank you. And then when you meet, and listen, I liked Kiss back in the day, and I've got nothing against Gene and Paul per se, but come on, they're pompous. They are, and they are. If you want to know how pompous Paul Stanley is, read his book. He'll tell you very clear just how pompous he is. He talks about everybody and everything. And he makes himself look like the king hero that rode into town and did everything. There's parts of his book I really like, but most of it is an egotistical journey, all about him. I mean, it's his book, I get it, but dude, you have to trash everybody. You made yourself the hero. You did nothing wrong. But Gene Simmons has recently come out and said some things. He's gotten, they jumped on him about it because of some things that, he said that were, and he just died. I mean, they're like, one guy said, I always heard, we've always heard that Gene was a jerk. He just proved it, Just leave it alone, dude. Just say, pray for his family. We miss him, rock on, Ace. And, but no, he's got to talk about his lifestyle and the problems he had and all that. He's got to be that dude. Now, come on. I mean, we're talking about the people that did Bruce Kulick wrong. They did some people wrong. I mean, come on. They're recording the album with Bruce Kulick behind the scenes, putting the band back together, and he knows something's up. And then they just buried him. I mean, one of the best guitarists they ever had, by my way of thinking. I'm not saying he had the energy and the riffs of Ace back in his prime, but, Bruce Kulick was I like him. Good dude. Just bad timing, but he gave what he had. Then that's what they do. They chew him up and spit him out. They did at least have him come back. But yeah, it's like Jakey Lee, that story, Watchman. Yeah, White Snake, I mean, Coverdale, he just couldn't do it anymore. That last album was a stretch. It had some good tunes on it. I bought it. It had some good tunes on it, but the voice was, even with studio magic, it just wasn't the same. And he realized he just couldn't do that anymore. And he doesn't have to even try. I mean, why should he? Go enjoy your grandkids. He's got some wonderful grandkids. I saw one of them interview him one day. It was precious. I have nothing against him. I don't like the way he did the band back in the day, superstardom. But yeah, I mean, great guitars come through that band, and bass players and all. I mean, he put a lot of people on the map. And his videos with Tawny Kitaen were probably some of the most watched videos ever on MTV. Wouldn't you think? Still of the Night, Here I Go Again, and others. I mean, I would say so. Yeah, Tommy Aldridge, what a guy. I mean, I don't say that, mean like. I mean, he's always looked older for his age. I mean, this guy goes he goes back. I mean, he played with Ozzy back in the heyday, He's played with everybody. I looked him up one day. The page that shows all the bands he's been in, you have to scroll the page down. This guy's played with everybody. He truly is the drummer for hire. You could be, as soon as White Snake's tour ended, somebody would be calling him up. He'd be going filling in. This guy lived on the road, man. I don't even know if he has a home. He's constantly out, and he still bringing it. I mean, I don't even know how old he is right now. He's got to be in his 60s, early 70s. He's got to be. But he has played with everybody. He's like one of those studio musicians, that's played with everybody. Watchman says, I love that interview with Gene and Paul. He's being super serious and asks what the costumes mean. And Ace described the parts. And he says, so what are you? Ace says, I'm the plumber, and laughs. Gene and Paul see. Yeah, they always felt like they together were smarter than everybody else. And then Paul likes to think that he is, way smarter than Gene, They're two very different people. I mean, they have respect for each other, but do they? 75. Wow. I knew it, man. And he's still playing. I don't know who he's playing with now that Whitesnake has been off the road for a bit, but I guarantee he's playing with somebody. This guy will die behind on the kit. He will. He'll just hit his last note and fall over. He'll go out a drummer. This guy, he will keep drumming. But he has played with everybody. Now that's a guy I'd like to read his book. That's a guy, I don't know if he's ever written one, but if he hasn't, he should. He's probably waiting until he can't physically do. And the fact that he's still banging at 75, I mean, a lot of drummers have had to give up. I mean, the damage to their, wrist and arms and hands, and they can't grip the sticks anymore and all that. I mean, the fact that you can still do that and pretty slamming. Salute to you, man. I mean, that's pretty amazing. Pretty daggone amazing. Look up recent Drummo YouTube video and Tommy Aldridge, and he kills it. Okay. We'll have to do that. Yeah, I mean, huge respect. And he's played with the greats, man. He has. He really has. What a career. I mean, what a career. I mean, he just shows up at major events too. Like, it's not just who he's playing with, but like he's there when there's a lot of major stuff that went down in musical history. There's a couple of people like that, but he's one of them that stands out to me. I mean, and I think he just had this mentality of, I'm always going to work, I'm not going to lay out, I'm going to work. I remember when Sorum for Guns, when he got the job with Guns, he was laying on his mama's couch. He needed a job. He was so glad to get it. Another guy just plays and plays and plays. Good morning, broski. So the fact that he did that for so long, has done that, and is still doing that, Like I said, I mean, when you go back to the Randy Rhoads era with the Aussie, you find him there, I can't remember who he was before that. I mean, but he was already playing with major people before that, and there's your link for that if you're on the Rumble side or want to copy that out of any of those, check that out. I'm going to copy that, and I'll give that a look see sometime today. Let me find somewhere to plaster that so I don't lose it. There we go. All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. But yeah, if you don't know, if you're not familiar with Tommy Aldridge, he's played a long time with a lot of people. And when we tonight we if nothing goes wrong, we're going to do Def Leppard Part 2 of the music show. Wolf Nation also debuts tonight with Paul Biscuit Boy, but we're going to do Part 2. I'm going to get that in. Look at some of these bands. He's played with Black Oak, Arkansas, Pat Travers Band, Ozzy, Gary Moore, Whitesnake, Ted Nugent, Thin Lizzy, Vinnie Moore, and Ingwe. I mean, look at the lineup. Iconic people. Iconic people. Amazing. And, like I said, he played with these great guitarists, and bass players and singers. Great guy. But he definitely has stayed out there, continued to find work. Hey, a good drummer's a good drummer, Drummers just do their thing, It's not like the lead singer, got the egos and stuff. Most drummers, they're a different breed. They're back in the bag, just banging, clanging, They do their drum solo. But, they got the backbeat. They're not out front usually. He's a Southern man too. Where's he from, Watchman? Where's Tommy from? I know I've looked his story up before because I just think he's an interesting dude, but I don't remember where he's from. But it's good. Hey, you know what? Nothing against anybody else, but he gets a couple extra credits for being Southern. I love that. Hey, Southern is state of mind. Florida, you think? I think you're right. Seems like that stands out. Hey, that early, I mean, you go back, that North Florida music scene, tremendous. Think of all the people that come down and got part of that, even if they weren't from Florida. I mean, way back in the day, I mean, not, you think of Leonard Skinner, Tom Petty, Don Feldman. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of people that was in that North Florida rough. You want to talk about rough? There were tons of bars and places you could play. They were rough. It's the kind of place where blood on the floor every night. But they cut their teeth. A lot of those artists, and I'm just mentioning some of them. That was a very, very unique scene of music back in the day. I don't know if it's got anything going on with it today, but around that Jacksonville, Florida area, Gainesville, that thing was hot. There was a lot of famous. Oh, he was born in Mississippi. Great state of Mississippi there, Jake, just like you. But yeah, I'm the guy. He just has, he has these really long arms, plays a double bass. I mean, he just bashes, man. He just plays. I like his drumming. Yeah, I don't like every drummer. Some drummers have a bad style. There's some that have a really good groove. I always liked Phil Rudd in AC/DC. I'm mentioning him. I always liked his groove. He's not the most technical player. I don't need him to be. I'm not a drummer. I listen. I like Neil Peart as much as anybody, but I'm not looking for the pitch. There's a groove to it. I just want that drum beat to be. And again, it's just for me. He started his drumming in Florida. I'm sure he found a lot of work. But Phil Rudd, what's the guy, the original Guns drummer? I liked his. Guns N' Roses does not sound the same with anybody else but him. That original sound. And by the way, he looks great today. I mean, he got bad on drugs. I mean, bad. Then he had a stroke. He looks better than any of the rest of them now. I mean, the guy's happy. Yeah. Phil Rudd. I mean, he's had some problems in his life. Meth got a hold of him at one point, and he's not a part of the tour or anything. He's not happy about that, but he was a part of the album they did. They brought him back together for Malcolm, and to do that one for Malcolm. But anyway, great groove. I like the way he plays. Always have. The live show they did in I think that was '80, right before Bond died, from Paris. And there's that. What song is it? It's "Walk All Over You." I love the video. I watched the start of that. They put the camera right on Phil Rudd as they get started in that song. Oh, I love it. Love it. But hey, if you can still be doing it at the, that's what Joe Elliott, and we're going to talk about, and I failed to follow up with that, but part two, definitely, we're going to pick up at Pyromania and go forward. And what I was going to say is, Mutt Lange has been with everybody. I mean, if you look at his list of bands that he's worked with and killer albums, pretty crazy. Didn't tour because his wife's dealing with cancer. Yeah, those things happen. Didn't know that. Prayers for her. But I've said if you're still wanting to watch the classics, there's still many of them out there that are touring. You better catch them now because it's coming to an end. There's many of them it's just time. Time always wins, and they're not going to be around much longer with us. They really aren't. But there are still a lot of iconic bands that are still playing. And what is I would, I've never went and seen the Trans-Siberian Orchestra around the Christmas time. I would like to see that. I like that stuff too. But there's a lot of good shows and stuff. This Friday night, we're hoping to go live from Ringo for a book signing. Another book, we did the Zenith Man with our lawyer friend, McCracken Poston Jr. Let me get the name in there. Great book, true story. And now there's another one, and he's going to be also doing a signing, but with another lady who wrote about a true story in North Georgia. And my hope is to go down and do a live stream for a bit and buy the book. So we'll see. We'll see how that works. We got to find out if that's going to be cool. We got. I haven't got to see that one yet. Watchmen been busy, but I will. Promise you. I got to catch up on some stuff. I've had a lot going on, but I do want to see it. I do appreciate you sending me those different documentaries, interviews, and stuff like that. I get into stuff like that. I'm big on biographies about people's lives and stuff. And yeah, I'll do it, man. I like to read about people's lives, the ups, the downs, the greats, the troubling times. That's life. That's what we all go through. We all go through some tough times. We all have, we've got the pinnacle of our lives. We've got the low point of our lives. Most people do. And, I think we all draw strength off each other to know that other people have been through very tough times. There was a great, it was like an after school movie or something, and it was played by some really good actors and actresses. But it was a true story about a nurse. I don't know if you ever saw this. I wish I could remember the name of that. It's been many, many years ago. But it was a guy who was an addict, and he met a girl, and she didn't know how bad he was, and she married him. She was a nurse, and their life just went down in the toilet for drugs. But they made it out, and they became spokespersons to help people get off drugs and stuff. I know people like that. I won't never know the people it really happened to in that movie. But I know people like that. I know people who got together and their lives went in the toilet for drug use, addiction. They both became addictions. They had a child or two, and they're in and out of jail and rehabs. I mean, that's a lot of what goes on in life. And I definitely. Broski says that they're going to be in Greenville tomorrow and Charlotte on Saturday. Hey man, I don't. God, what's his name? Y'all have to help me. I swear, when I get on the show, I can't think of the name. The other guitarist in Whitesnake, to bring everything full circle. These last minute, Holstra, is that it? He plays in that still, right? If you remember Watchmen, you probably know. Was it Joel Holstra? Is that his name? Played in Whitesnake for several years. He's always been involved with that, playing with them for that 35, 40 days or whatever it is that they play. They just play every day. But I think so. Deal would have fans come out and hang out at his castle in Cali. Super cool dude. Awesome. Uh, Maybe I'll ride the infamous Charlotte Light Rail to go see it on Saturday. That would be, yeah. Let us know if you do. Give us a review. Trans-Siberian Orchestra came from Sabotage. They were a great band. Okay. I love, it's more than that one song. They always play that one song on the radio during this time of year. It's in the Christmas mix, but they've got a lot of others. It's not just that. I mean, they really cool stuff. They go all over. I mean, this was a great idea. However they came up with that idea, great idea. Talk about a winter chicken dinner. That was a great idea. And they will be able to do this as long as they want. People, it's like a tradition now. People will go back and see them. They don't have to worry about the audiences. They will come out. I mean, and just that name, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, I mean, it kind of grabs your attention anyway. But I've never saw them live. I've seen videos and stuff. Saw them play on morning shows on TV, and I would like to go see them. I've never saw them, and I don't go out shows really ever anymore. But I think this one I'd make an exception for. Absolutely. It's the time of year to go to church plays, singing, caroling, all that stuff. You just take in the scene. There's a lot going on, a lot of outdoor stuff. It's cold. You get some hot chocolate or something or coffee, and you get your gloves on and go. John and Chris Oliva, brother started Sabotage after Chris died. John started. Okay. I didn't know that. I did not know that. And I'm not really familiar with the band either. I've heard of them, but that's just one of the areas I wasn't involved with. And God bless all of you on Instagram. Nice lineup coming in this morning. We appreciate you stopping by. Merry Christmas to you. Hope you have a happy New Year. Give us a like and a follow and all that good stuff, as we say. I'm the Cornbread Man. If it's your first time in the show, we have many names go under. Behind me, you'll see the Wolf Nation going to debut tonight. That's all about outdoor activities. Me and the Biscuit Boy. I'm known as the Cornbread Man, the Biscuit Boy. We're going to continue. We're going to be talking about a lot of things outdoors, and whatever your adventure is. But we're going to talk about absolutely hiking the Appalachian Trail. We're going to talk about water sports, horse. Paul was going to finish the second part of his story about riding horses down in the Caribbean in the ocean. We will go back and revisit the first part of that story, which cracked me up, and then the second part, which we haven't talked about yet. But him and his wife, wonderful, beautiful wife and grandkids, they go on these outdoor adventures often. I'm going to do some. Check out the album Hall of the Mountain King. Seemed like I might have heard some of that, man. But I will. I'll check it out. Hall of the Mountain King. Yes, Mannheim Steamroller is cool too. Check them out if you haven't. It's another new age rock Christmas music group. They've been around since the 70s. And yes, you are correct. Let us not forget them because they're very well known as well. Been around longer. And they've got some really good stuff too. I went to one time, I used to go, and I wish that she was still there. Bless her heart, but I was a lady activities director for an assisted living home down in Atlanta. Very nice, upscale assisted living home. And I used to get invited down for Christmas Eve to do a service, and I would do the preaching. And one year they had a choir come in. I want to tell you, they rocked it. I'll tell you what, that's the best Christmas Eve for music I ever had. And they just a cappella, man. They didn't have no music. They didn't need it. Just voices. Oh, man, it was hard to follow that act up. I'm glad I had God's word because I couldn't have done it. But they were amazing. My son still talks about that. He went with us. He would always travel with us, my oldest son. And he was like, wow, Dad, that was great. Like, talking about some old people rocking down. And I say that all with all due respect. Some of them, early stages of Alzheimer's, they loved it. As they say, they were coming out of their seats. They were trying to make sure they didn't fall down. What a great choir. You go to stuff like that. It just gives you a blessing, So get out and enjoy. That's what I say. People stay sealed up. The short, long, cold days of winter, Christmas time, the pressures, finances, whatever. There's so many things you can do that don't even cost money. Just get out. Get out of your lair, your den, your man cave or whatever, and don't be sad. Get out and do something go out and lift somebody's spirits. Let them lift your spirits. You don't have to. You don't have to live, be all down and depressed and everything. There's ways to snap out of it. This is a great time of year. I always enjoy it. I don't let there's those things that tries to creep into your life. This year's been challenging due to my wife's health. She's happy about Christmas. I'm happy about Christmas. She's going to be okay. She's battling every day to get better. And my wife is working on simply saying "I love you." She can't say it, but she's getting better. And I get to hear her practice as she tells me "I love you." So she's got the I and part of love out really good now, and then she's got to get you, and she's working. That's the phrase she's working on to get her speech back, and sing it, speak it, shout it, whatever. And she's not giving up. She says, "I wish I could be back to who I was," and I understand that. And sometimes life gives us a hard turn, right? A hard curve. You just got to be the best you can today. We all have changes that occur in our life. And just never lose the spirit, the fight, and keep going. And if you're here in America, we live in the greatest country. Even with all the knuckleheads here, we live in the greatest country. And don't let anybody steal your patriotism, your love for people and animals and your country and Jesus. Just don't let them steal it. There's the negative Nellies all around wherever you go, but there's also great people. I went to a drive-through last night. I was aggravated last night because there's a couple things. The whole night just got all twisted up and ripped. There's nothing major, but just aggravating. And I went down to the drive-through, and the lady at the window that brought my food. She was so kind. That's letting your light shine. I mean, just so kind. Gave me the big smile. Was wishing me a Merry Christmas, telling me, she hoped I had a great night, and just. I just lifted my spirits. I drove off and I'm thinking, I needed that. I needed that. I really did. God gave me a blessing through her. I'm going to have to go back and tell her, because I didn't really, I thanked her and everything, but I was thinking I need to go back. I need to get her name and I need to brag on her. They work hard, they deal with a bunch of knuckleheads pulling up the window. And then and I wasn't having the best night for me. And I wouldn't say I was on my game, but I was listening to something on the radio, and then here's this lady with my bag, and she's smiling, and I mean, you just have to be there. It was great. Fun fact: not one is paid to be. Oh, okay, they do it for free. The money is to stay out of trouble on our off time. Okay, on the roadies get paid. I did not know that. That's cool. That's cool. Hey, apparently once they do it, it's like they love it and they want to be a part of it, every time. But that's cool. Yeah, money, it just starts it messes people up, I mean, I'll say this, and I'll get off of here because I got to go take the kiddos to school and get the wife up and everything, get on to work. But you know what? This scene will always be forever burned in my mind. To me, it describes perfectly how you become stupid once you become successful. In coming up on the near the 1984 album with Van Halen, the great Van Halen, they go to Michael Anthony's, the great bass backup singer, and all that. He didn't write a lot, but up until that point, they spread the graft all equally. But anyway, they go to tell him, we're going to take more of the money because we write. Okay, I get it. Blah blah blah. He never cried about it. He never whined about it. He just said, okay. But here's these guy, Dave Lee Roth on the floor crying. Dave Lee Roth, Mr. Macho, is on the floor crying. And the Van Halen brothers sitting there going, you don't write. I mean, we deserve more of it. And Michael Anthony just sitting there like, okay, whatever. Rock and roll. That scene as out of a book I read, it just to me describes how stupid everything gets once the money gets involved. It just divides. What was friends, what started out as, hey, let's start a band. It becomes that. The lawyers, the fight, the jealousy, everything. It's all about. And then once that happens, it's never going to be the same. Never. You can't get it back. You can't. And for his part, Michael Anthony he was never a problem in the band. Never. Everybody else at times were the problem. Michael Anthony was never the problem. And he always got treated kind of crappy. And to the point that one day they pulled his image and everything off their website, and for 24 hours, until the fans said, if you don't put him back up, we're done with you. And they put him back up. Michael Anthony didn't deserve that. He's just a great guy, and he just didn't deserve it. But that's what happens. To me, that's what happens when success comes. That's the scene I think of. Have a great morning. Hey, have an absolutely great morning tonight. If all goes well, Wolf Nation music show for sure. We'll try to squeeze in, yes, the history show, but we're going to get those two in for sure. Cornbread Man and Biscuit Boy, have a great morning, and we will go out with some music, and we'll see you soon. Take care. If you're going to work, school, sitting at home, curled up with coffee, whatever you're doing, do it well. There is responsibility with being an American. Be a great American citizen today, and don't let the knuckleheads, wherever they are, they're out there, don't let them spoil your day. Just move on. They're nuts. Just realize it. As Barney Fife was saying to Griffith, he's a nut. There's a lot of nuts out there. Take care.